So you're an American who wants to move to Norway. You're not ready for the religiousness of Norwegian culture. Yesterday we had a holiday, and Norwegians call it something which directly translates into Jesus Heaven Jump Day, Kristi Himmelfartsdag. You might know this as an American as the Ascension Day of Jesus Christ into heaven. Or you may not know this at all, because almost nobody who's not a priest or a pastor in America has any idea when the Ascension is. As I said, traditionally, this would have been called the day that Christians believe Jesus ascended into heaven after dying and rising from the dead. Here's the bananas thing, though. Americans are stereotyped as very, very Christian. And most Americans, unless they're very religious, would have no idea when this day is, or maybe that it even exists on a calendar. Norwegians, on the other hand, are known as one of the least religious countries in the world. At least Sweden was known as one of the most secular about 10 years ago. Norway and Sweden are often culturally similar. Most Norwegians do not identify as Christian in their actual beliefs. I think the easiest way to understand this for Americans is that Norway has a state church. So most Norwegians may be registered as Christian, especially in generations 40 and older, and they participate in the traditions sometimes, and I'll get back to that. But most of them, if you said, do you believe that Jesus Christ died for your sins? Most of them don't believe that. So what's wild to me sometimes is that you have this non-religious nation that has more religious holidays given to people than Americans who are stereotyped as religious. Of course, you can link this to the fact that America is an overworked dystopia. And you could also say, Norwegians may not be religious, but who's going to complain about a holiday, right? Nobody's going to say, take it off the book. But you do get these wild scenarios because of it sometimes. So everybody gets confirmed at the same time, the same week of the church calendar. And in America, don't come for me, by the way, Norwegians, because I was raised actually religious Lutheran, like insane religious, like toxic religious Lutheran by a controlling mother who used religion to control me through church methods. So I know how Lutheranism works. And you guys like to say these things are only Catholic or whatever. No, they can be Lutheran, all right? In America, if you are confirmed in the Lutheran church, that is like a boring Bible thing. I had to repeat things about like Jesus dying for my sins. I had to recite Bible verses in front of a crowd, and I was given the gift of a Bible. In Norway, confirmation is basically like okay, but let me go back. In America, confirmation is a bit like a bar mitzvah. Like it's an important, like you're an adult in the eyes of the church. It's very religious. In Norway, it's like the party part of the bar mitzvah, or like a quinceañera, sweet 16. It's just like a coming of age tradition. So people still celebrate it, and they might go to church as a family that weekend, the way some people go on Christmas and Easter for the tradition. But it's not like when I grew up, where I grew up, where it's like, do you believe in Jesus? Are you going to take responsibility for your sins now? Similarly, because you're an adult in the eyes of the church in Lutheranism in America, when you get confirmed, that's when you again, take responsibility for your sins. Lutherans that are very religious baptize as children, okay? All of this led to a bizarre experience where I was at church this Sunday. I didn't know it was Confirmation Sunday. Everybody's in bunads. And these kids get up on the stage. They're getting confirmed. And they've gone through confirmation class. It's a bit of a new age church. So older order religions think you get baptized as a baby because in the medieval times, they thought, okay, baptize them so they don't go to hell. Many newer religions are like, you should be able to be consciously choosing baptism because that's when you're choosing responsibility for your sins. You can see the Lutheran church I was raised in, the parent baptizes the kid on their behalf as a baby. Then as they get older, then you choose confirmation. So I was in a weird situation where I'm sitting in church, everybody's getting confirmed. This kid gets on the stage, she's gone through confirmation class, and that has made them decide to get baptized. As an American, I did a double take because you would never have a situation. Yes, you have some churches where adulthood begins at baptism as a 14 or 10-year-old. You have some churches where adulthood in the church begins at confirmation. Never in America could you have a church, because these are theological things in America. You could never have a church where somebody used confirmation to decide to get baptized. So I'm just sitting there. I'm like, my head is spinning around 360. How can you what? You decided to, It's because confirmation here is pretty much purely cultural. You get gifts, you dress up, you get a bunad. Whoa, such different concepts.